Well, a wee talking vlog eh, about how things used to be in the motor trade. One example of old school motor trade, people would buy something cheap and then spend a good whack of money on it and getting it up to usefulness. Back in the day, talking 1980s, 1990s, people were running about in 400 quid bangers, like Hillman Hunters, Cortinas. You used to spend about £400 a year keeping it maintained. You're talking about you build a vehicle that was good enough to go and do a Glasgow London, right? A brand new car at that time was £4,000. So you're getting it for 400, you're spending 400 on it, that's £800. So then the Lada came out, the Russian Lada, and we were doing a deal. It was the first hire purchase car. It was £100 a month. Now, I used to work for a Lada dealership in the 1990s, and what people were doing is they were paying £100 a month, £1,200 a year. The car was needing £800 of repairs. It was no way suitable for doing a Glasgow to London, and if they kept the 400 quid Cortina and spent 400 quid on it, they could have done a Glasgow to London, going anywhere up any hills in Scotland. Just a little bit more money in petrol and insurance, right? The motor trade died. Vauxhall started selling Cavaliers, Novas and Astras. Ford started selling Escorts and Fiestas. People were spending a fortune in a car note, and that's where we are today. And nobody runs and maintains their vehicles anymore. The last vehicle I did a mass repair on was an oil rig worker, and he'd had a Lada, and it was no use for going to Aberdeen. Glasgow to Aberdeen's a couple of 100 miles anyway, and then the round trip, I mean, colossal mileages, right? So you need something like a Sierra, something that's designed for it. So he went up to car market and he bought a 1987 2 litre GLSI. Try saying that if you're Sean Connery. GLSI, Ford Sapphire, 5-speed, high back seats. Basically, the car was a Cosworth Sapphire, but with a 2 litre overhead cam, fuel injected, 5-speed box. It was mechanically trashed. The only thing that was good in it was the diff. The gearbox needed bearings, 165 quid for bearings. We used to get them locally. I took the gearbox out it, threw it in the van, went round, dropped it off. The cylinder head, pulled the cylinder head off. It needed a camshaft, needed valve guides, needed valve seats. The rest of the engine was okay. Did an oil change on it, time belt, and then the brakes were shot. Brake calipers were a lot of money. I think they were 50 quid each back at that time, and then it needed new discs, which funnily enough was a rare thing, because at the time people would have brake discs that used to last a lifetime of the car. But now you're only getting 2 and 3 years out of them. So the car's repair, that was the last big repair that I did in a garage. It was 800 quid, and he paid £100 for the motor. And I phoned them and I says, look, this is a great car, high spec, tinted glass, electric windows, lovely. It's £800 to repair this to get it back into a usable car. And he went, that's okay, just do it. I says, can I ask why? He says, yeah, because it's 12 grand for a new one. There's the last sensible person I've ever met. Wonder how many years he got at it going up to Aberdeen. But there you go, there's where we are. Nobody owns a car anymore. They're all got them in hire purchase, and then the brake, and then there's plastic in the timing chains, and plastic in the inlet manifolds. 3-cylinder 1500cc engines pulling BMWs, 20 foot long, and it's got a 1500cc engine in it. It's just ridiculous. So, personal opinion, I don't want it after 1989. I just don't want it. I know I'm sitting in a 1973 Mach 1 Mustang, and I can nearly do all the repairs myself at the side of the road. Nearly. If I had a garage, I could do all of them. So there's where we are. That's why classic car ownership, they're trying to curtail it, because they know that you can maintain it and keep it on the road for years. You get Dalton Summit and Paul Barn Garage pulls something out of a hedge and gets the engine back to life, throws a grand at it, and he's got a good usable car that he can drive halfway across America. You know what I mean? It's a no-brainer. Why spend $100,000 on a brand new Dodge Charger when you can get something out of a hedge for like $500 and then spend a grand on it? It's idiocy to buy something new. I understand if somebody's an accountant or something like that and they're getting a wage of money to go and buy a car, well, that's different. But your working person hasn't got that, so you need to be careful with money. And as they say in Fife, every pound's a prisoner. See what this starts like. Yeah. A wee bit overdressed. Keep thinking it's going to be winter. Got a heavy shirt on, a heavy jacket, don't need it. Mach 1 driving as a learner coming, oh dear, what's going to happen now? Busy, busy. Oh, they're all going in. Right, good. And he's second gear because of brake traction in this roundabout. See that manhole cover there? Wee story about how people buy cars hire purchase and how the motor trade collapsed 1993.